It doesn't matter how much or how little anxiety you may struggle with as a skater. I think that is important to be able to find ways to still skate and have fun and not let that steal the joy that you should be having and experiencing as a skater and when you're skating. These are tips that are just from my personal experience as someone who has struggled with severe, debilitating social anxiety. 2 years after I finally realized that that was what I was actually struggling with, I've come to a place that I'm healthy and functional. The reason I'm sharing this with you, although I do have experience in training as a social worker and I have been a student counselor in college, I am not a mental health professional. I'm not giving any medical or mental health advice here. I'm just sharing the tips that have helped me as someone who has struggled with anxiety. I know what it's like. I just want to pass these on because if you struggle with anxiety like I have and still sometimes do, I think that these could really help. Hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little different than my regular content, and if this is your first time here, hi, I'm Brianna. I go by my skate name here on my channel, Simon Slays 55. So yeah, let's get into it. The first point for me is to acknowledge it. Acknowledge and accept that. So that's my first tip for you, is to acknowledge and accept the fact that you have anxiety. I feel like a lot of what gets in the way of being open and vulnerable and honest about how we feel or how we are feeling when we are experiencing anxiety is that we just want to push it down. We just want to deny it. We just want to act normal. We just want to mask that and just, you know, pretend like everything's cool when it's not. Anxiety can really get to the point that it's debilitating. For me, for the longest time, I didn't know that I had social anxiety, and I developed all these coping mechanisms that really were just pushing it down and not dealing with it, not facing it, which actually made it worse. It was like the more I felt fear, the more I ran away from that fear, and in turn that just caused more and more for me anxiety. That's my first tip for you, is just be aware. If you're feeling anxious, maybe look up what anxiety looks like in the body, and if you just be kind of in tune with your own body and notice when you're starting to feel those symptoms in your body. Sometimes that can be the first way to tell, because your mind can be very tricky. Being able to identify and be aware and acknowledge that, and then with time be able to accept that too, holding space for yourself and showing yourself compassion, understanding, and love. Other people may not be able to do that, but you can do that for yourself, and compassionate towards yourself when you do see that in yourself, and just acknowledging, I feel anxious right now, or that's anxiety talking to me in my head. So that's the first step when you are experiencing those things and being able to identify them. That's my first tip for you, is just to learn how to acknowledge it and to be aware and to be able to kind of identify it with yourself. And you know what it looks like for you, but sometimes we don't even know that. If you don't know and you're not able to identify those things, how can you know that's even what you're experiencing? I am gonna recommend one last thing, so it's kind of like a bonus. I read this book. It actually helped me identify that I was dealing with severe social anxiety, and that's actually what was going on with me, by Dr. Aziz, and it was called The Solution to Social Anxiety. I will give you some resources and link those below for you. Tip number 2, to know what you need. And not just to know what you need, but also to choose it. Allow yourself to have needs and to communicate those and let other people in. I know that is so hard, and it's not just like an easy step that you can take. It takes time to get there. But start working on little steps that you can do now. It can be very, very hard, and you can feel a lot of guilt when you have anxiety, about having anxiety. I know I personally have felt a lot of guilt about having anxiety and having needs because of having anxiety. But as I've learned to accept the fact that I struggle with that and that I feel that way, and just to honor those emotions that I feel, I'm so grateful that in all those times when I finally realized that that was what I was dealing with, was severe social anxiety, that I was able to choose myself and choose my mental health over anything else. And so I just want to say, if you are at a place where it is debilitating and it is very difficult for you to, socialize or get out or to be able to skate out there, I know what that feels like. It sucks, but I do want you to know that it's okay to take whatever time you need or do whatever you need to do and choose yourself, because you are worth it. Your mental health is worth it, and you're not gonna miss out. I promise you, you will be able to experience things more fully and freely and with so much more joy if you're able to prioritize you first. That's what I had to do. I had to choose me. And it wasn't selfish at all, because your needs are valid as a person. And the more you neglect them, the worse that kind of gets. Don't feel like you have to do a whole lot, no, but do whatever it is you need most for yourself. Number 3, like whatever it is that you need, you can ask someone to be there for you. Have someone close to you that you trust, who knows about what things trigger you. So what causes your anxiety, what makes your anxiety worse, and just communicating to them, having someone who's a good listener, listen and understand and hear you out and hold space for you. So having someone you can be vulnerable and confide in, that's a friend or even a family, like whoever it is, just choose someone that you feel you can trust and who would be understanding, and share with them. Share with them, say, hey, this is something I struggle with, it makes me feel this way, and this is what I need. Would you be willing to just support me? Because I don't really like struggling with this, but I do, and it's something I'm trying to work through, but I felt like you would be understanding if I shared this with you, and could you help me with this? Would you go to the skate park with me? Could you text me ahead of time? Like, let me know a day ahead of time before we go so I can have time to prepare myself for going and being around people. I think so often with anxiety, we think that we have to self-help or we just have to get a therapist. And some of us just aren't in the place where we can do it on our own and we need someone else to be there for us. I'm a very independent person. I like to be self-sufficient. I'm very strong. I like to do things on my own. But I've learned through my lifetime that you can't build deep relationships with people like you want unless you're willing to be vulnerable and honest and authentic. And it's really hard when you're a very private person and you like to be very independent and do things yourself to vocalize those things. You're just a person and we all have our things, you know? Maybe for someone else it's not anxiety. Maybe they struggle with something else. But that's okay, because maybe between the two of you, you can balance each other out. Maybe you're good at something, you're really secure in an area that they're working on. And that's what people in your life and relationships are for, is to actually help each other out. You know, you have something to give. It's not like them helping you out makes you the weak one or something. No, you're amazing. Just make a pact kind of with yourself that you're going to be honest with the right people. You do not have to tell everyone. It can be something that you just share with people you trust. That's okay. It's your choice. You don't owe anyone an explanation either. Like, I feel like a lot of people feel like they have to explain why they have anxiety or blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. You can just say, I struggle with this. This is kind of things that make it harder for me, and it would really help if you could help me out by doing this. And I understand if you can't, but it would be really helpful to me. You know, it's okay to ask for what you need, because you are worth it, and your mental health and your emotional well-being is worth it. It has taken me a very long time to actually put myself first and to not feel guilty for it, and to know that when I take care of myself, it's actually helping me be able to be in a healthy place to give to others even better. And I can't function well with anxiety, so managing my own emotional state and staying healthy and doing things and finding things that help me be healthy as a skater is so beneficial for everyone else, because when I flourish, we're all gonna flourish. And it's the same for you. When you're flourishing, when you're thriving, you're gonna just add that to everyone else. But don't feel guilty if you don't feel like you're not. Like, it's okay to need people. So give yourself that space and show yourself the same kindness you would want, you know, to show someone else who is in your position, who is struggling in the same way as you. You would be kind to them. I know you would. Because I know that people who suffer and struggle with anxiety and mental illnesses, you know, we know what it's like to be down. We know what it's like for when things suck, and we have compassion others. So show yourself the same compassion. Whatever it is that you need, just find something that you can put yourself around that's going to lift your spirits and that's going to help raise your energy, where you feel safe. And whether that be just one person you trust and feel safe with, that you can spend time with, or, you know, it's a whole group or a community that you finally just take the step and say, you know what, I'm just going to try something new. But it could be wonderful. and it could be just what I need. And I think it's worth the risk. It's worth finding out. Tip number 4. So another thing that really can help with anxiety as a skater, kind of preparing yourself before you do things. Previewing a place before you actually go. I don't know why, but this really, really helps me out. I think it's because a lot of the anxiety I used to experience was not knowing what I was going to walk into and what that environment was going to be like. Sometimes that anxiety really can get the best of you. And sometimes the best way to get that out of the way is to preview some things. Going in and checking something out without any intention of doing anything, like you're not trying to go and skate there, you're just going to go and look and check out the vibe or check out the place or go look around. And that can really help relieve some of those things that you would be anxious about if you were just like sitting at home thinking about and going out and skating and doing something. A lot of anxiety is just like not knowing stuff and worrying about it. So one of the ways that you can get that out of the way is just go check it out. Go find out right now and face it. I'm gonna go check this out. I'm gonna go look at the place, feel the vibe out, see like where the stair sets are, if you don't jump those, you know, that kind of thing. So that way you kind of have an idea already of what you're gonna be walking into. And so that's one thing out of your mind that you don't have to worry about, because you can reassure yourself, I've already been here, I've already checked it out, I know what I'm gonna be showing up to, at least on a general sense. And so you can even like reassure yourself in that way when you do go, oh yeah, I already checked out that park. I've used this with going to the gym. I've used this to go into the skate park. I've used this with like when I'm riding with someone else. I'm like, hey, I kind of want to check out this like trail. Would you mind like just driving by with me? And so we'll go do that and be like, oh yeah, that looks pretty cool. And if you keep your skates in your car, you could actually get out and skate it right then too. So there's always an opportunity to skate. Check it out beforehand, kind of get that out of the way with no expectations ahead of time. Just scope things out and give yourself a little bit of a peace of mind. And lastly, number 5. And it's gonna sound silly, but it really does help, and I think it can work for almost anyone, and that is for post-anxiety. So let's say you've gone and done something, but now you're coming home and you're having anxious thoughts, and you're just worrying about it. Or, you know, you're experiencing some kind of feelings of anxiety about like anything that happened or interactions or anything like that. Like whatever anxiety you're feeling it now, and you're not even there anymore, but you're worrying about it and you're anxious about it. So what I like to do when these things happen, and you can use this before something too, and during, like you can use this tip anytime, is I give myself a pep talk. And I know it can feel silly and kind of cheesy, but literally like just tell yourself the things you need to hear and tell yourself out loud. I typically do this when I'm alone. So not when anyone else is around. When I stop and I acknowledge and I see, okay, I'm having these thoughts, they're anxious, I'm spiraling, whatever it is. I'm like, okay, stop. And I pause and I just get present in the moment. And then I think of the kind of thoughts I'm having. So let's say I was anxious because I was awkward and I said something and I'm worrying about it now, and I'm worrying that person thought that maybe I said the wrong thing or I didn't say something how I wanted to, and I'm worrying now later looking back thinking about it. You are going to obsess over it and overthink the crap out of it, because that's what anxiety does. To manage that and kind of move yourself away from falling into that and kind of getting trapped in that brain cycle, just bleh. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like when I'm talking to other people, they're not gonna get it. So like talking to someone who understands right now, who I know on the other side is like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's weird because like I'm like, sometimes I feel like when I talk about these things and people don't struggle with anxiety, they just kind of look at me like, like they don't get it. And so I had to tell myself even now, like while I'm talking to this camera, like to you, that you get it, like you know what I'm talking about. But give myself pep talks. So basically a pep talk is where you basically just say affirmations. You affirm yourself, you speak truth to yourself, you strengthen yourself, you acknowledge the things that are actually true that you know and that you need to hear. And it's, sometimes it really sucks and it's not fun to be the one to tell yourself those things. You want to hear those things from others. But guess what? Outside validation is not all it's cracked out to be. You're not always going to have that. Other people can't be your source of personal self everything, You have to tell yourself those things. You have to affirm yourself. You have to believe in yourself. Basically, I like to do the opposite matching. So there's two ways to do it. You can either affirm something positive, or again, you can let go and accept what it is. So like I said before, like I'll acknowledge that, okay, I feel really anxious about this because I felt like I was being whatever, or I said this, and that's what I'm worried about. What am I really worried about? Okay, I'm worried that this person thought I was being awkward. Well, was I being awkward? And why is that a bad thing? I'm allowed to be awkward. It's okay. And just kind of like let it go and just be like, I'm awkward, so what? What, they're gonna reject me? Well, then they're not a very cool person if they can't deal with someone being awkward, you know? It happens. We're all awkward. Accept it, because I do, you know? But if that doesn't work and I can't accept that I was awkward, then I tell myself I wasn't. I tell myself that, you know what, you're actually really great at talking to people. I don't know why you're thinking you were awkward, because you're an amazing person and you had a great night. And if you can't do that because you really feel like you were awkward or whatever it is, and you're stressing and you're anxious about it, then just say, you know what, yeah, I was being awkward. That was awkward. That was straight up awkward. There's no denying it. There's no, like, I'm not imagining things. I definitely was. Okay, and I feel anxious. Why? Because that person probably also felt how awkward that was. And now I feel anxious, and that's why I'm thinking about it now, because I know it was, and I know they saw that it was. Okay, what you can do is give yourself a pep talk. What do you need to hear right now, knowing all that? What do you need to know? That it's okay. Basically, it's okay that I was awkward. So tell yourself, you know what? It's okay that I was awkward. It really is. It's okay. So yeah, that's basically how I do my pep talks. I just talk myself out of being negative and down on myself, and I flip it up to reassure and comfort myself and hold space for myself and be nice to myself and be kind to myself and understanding and compassionate, and just be like, you know what? Even if blank, that's okay. And that acceptance goes a long way. Just be your own best friend in those situations. You know, link arms with yourself and be like, hey, guess what? You're amazing. Because it's true. It really is. You're an amazing person. People are privileged to get to know you. You have so much good in your heart, and all the things that we do that we feel anxious about later and that we worry about and we get anxiety over, you know, you're allowed to be a person. You're allowed to be awkward and weird and fumble over your words or lose your train of thought or not tell a joke well, whatever it is. Like, you do not have to be perfect. And the more that you embrace that, the more that other people will also be able to see that and feel that from you, and they'll follow suit. Like, whatever energy you're putting out about yourself, people kind of catch on to that. And if you feel like, oh my god, I'm so awkward, like, they're gonna feel that and be like, oh god. But if you're like, you know what, I'm comfortable with the fact that I'm awkward and it's fine, then other people are gonna be like, you know what, yeah, you're right, yeah. Now I can maybe be a little awkward, you know? It's almost like you open it up for other people to be allowed to be themselves and to be messy and human as well. And I mean, so maybe a little less performance and a little more acceptance is good for all of us. And I say that for myself to hear. So I'm telling you, be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, be compassionate, be understanding, hold space for yourself, be patient with yourself. I feel like a lot of skate culture, we can easily compare ourselves, especially with like Instagram and TikTok and social media and just things exploding and just seeing everywhere all these highlights, you know, people just flipping and being like, I'm never gonna fucking flip. Like, it's okay. You don't have to. It's not about flipping. Don't think that to be good enough you have to do the things you see other people doing, like having a brand sponsor you or getting some kind of like promotional opportunity. No, be yourself. Know that you're worthy. Know that you are just as valuable as the person next to you. Know that you deserve all the good things too. And you don't have to be anyone but yourself to do that, okay? You're allowed to enjoy skating and to own your own journey, to be where you're at and to have fun with it. You don't have to judge yourself harshly, and you don't have to worry about other people judging you. I hope that you can find a place where you can not only give love to others, but receive love for yourself, and know that you're worthy of that love, and know that you are enough right where you're at. You don't have to be fixed, you don't have to be better, and even with your anxiety, obviously. And at least being open to, you know, the love that is out there for you, because there is people who will love you for who you are, where you're at, with what you struggle with, as you are. I don't care like how good you are at skating. You are a person, you have value, and I see that in you. and other people will too, and you don't have to convince them. Just show up and be yourself. And anxiety sucks to experience as a skater, and I know that from a personal level. I just want you to know that it's okay. Wherever you're at with it, however much anxiety you feel or struggle with, it's okay. I really don't want you to feel any shame around being someone who's anxious or who experiences anxiety or who struggles with it. In fact, like embracing and accepting and acknowledging that part of you can help you feel it and move past it. You're wonderful as you are, and I want you to know that. And really, the more that you own that and accept yourself and allow yourself to be where you are, that's gonna allow you to relax and open up and to be a little more free. I hope that these tips are helpful for you. That was my heart in doing this video. And before you go, I really would love if you are someone that struggles with anxiety as a skater, please share one thing that someone has done that has helped you as a skater who has struggled with anxiety, that just was very supportive and helpful, that you appreciated. I think that's really important to put this out there because I do have a platform and skaters come to my channel for information and to learn. And I think that these conversations are just as important and we can help each other out. I think it's important to put it out there at least. I will read your comments. This is a safe space for you if you want to share something. If I heart it, you'll see there's a heart from Simon Slice 55 hearted your comment. That lets you know that I've read it. Just know that I can't respond to everything, but do know that I am a listening ear. I hear you and you are not alone, and I will be here to support you. You know, you just want to open up and connect. That's totally fine, and can be very helpful to go through the comments and see that you're not alone. Thank you for being here. I hope that you subscribe. I really appreciate your support. It means so much to me, and it helps me to continue making more videos like this. I'm posting content to my channel here on YouTube every single week, and you can also connect with me on Instagram and TikTok as well. Let's connect, let's get to know each other. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next video. Bye!